So I've been really enjoying kind of reading some of the comments and chatting with you guys. I don't get a chance to read YouTube comments much anymore, being a dad now and having so many videos. But there was this video that I put up yesterday about this Kemper upgrade. I thought I have to kind of do a video on this because it's actually changing the game in the modeling world, and I think it's definitely a thing that people are discussing. So the idea, should updates and upgrades always be free in the modeling world, I guess is what's at play here, and that's the question I guess that we are needing to answer. Because I think there's mostly incredibly negative pushback is what I'm reading in the comments, and then there's a few people that are kind of not happy about it. A few people have bought it and are very pleased with the Kemper Player anyway, but in general the push seems to be not happy about this with Kemper. So let me know your thoughts in this video as well if you want to, or if you've maybe changed your opinion, if you've watched some other people talk about this or you've thought about it a bit more.
This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses.
The idea for the last, I think since 2006, 2007, sometime like that, really has been that Fractal basically brought out a piece of hardware priced in such a way that essentially somehow there's a model where free updates continue for the life of the product. And that has been kind of the thing that people are taking on. Line 6 specifically credit Fractal with this, and they before that used to do paid sort of like model upgrades, but there weren't really significant updates as I recall to the Pod XT Live. Basically you could buy some extra amp packs and stuff like that and chuck those in. There was 3 of them, right? Line 6 brought out the Line 6 Helix, of course, in about 2015, and for the last sort of 9 years there's been steady updates, steady improvements, and especially this is really noticeable with the HX Stomp, which is like their entry level product, or was, where that got all the same updates as the full Helix. Every effect model that is available in the Helix is available in the HX Stomp. So that kind of has been the precedent that is set. Kemper have also done that with the Kemper stage being as powerful as the rack, as powerful as the head, and all along updates have been free. So I think that is why this paid upgrade thing is sort of shaken the customer base a bit. And I guess they could have done this in a way which was more acceptable and that could have gone across better. But I think it's probably one of the worst PR moves from a joke. I'm kidding. Can't even joke about that, right? Anyway, sorry, it's horrible PR. And I think the point really is that free updates are some of the best ways that company can promote their hardware. And I did see a really interesting comment from a guy just now who was saying, like, if we're going to move to this idea of subscription-based stuff or paying for upgrades and stuff, then the hardware should be cheaper. And I guess this is what most of us, I think, have been kind of buying into all these years. Like companies kind of put out a different form factor for more or less the same amount or same, number of effects and same sorts of amp models and stuff. You choose the form factor that kind of works for you. And the HX Effects doesn't have amp models in it. This is an interesting, notable exception from the Line 6 family, right? Where this one specifically omits amp models. Now, if there was a paid upgrade where I could actually get amp models on the HX Effects, I think I'd be open to that. So I'm not totally against all of this stuff, I don't think. And I think there probably are ways that you can do this where it doesn't feel as egregious and maybe doesn't feel like they've intentionally just at launch restricted a device to later, 9 months later, say, well, you can pay to have the full capability that was there all along. That's, I think, what people are mostly not too happy with, right? Similarly with the Pod Go and stuff like that, they specifically, have said, this will get basically all the models that we can fit in here with kind of some tweaks for DSP, does have a fixed signal chain, but, most of the effects that are in the full Helix that are not, super DSP intensive, like the Poly Capo and the Cosmos Echo, they're in there. And I think that is what's kind of confusing to me about the Kemper thing, is that the Kemper Player is like literally less metal, less components, no screen. They already make the saving essentially in terms of the hardware versus a Kemper Stage. Like a Kemper Stage is going to be more expensive to make, right? It's, you know, more than double the switches, screen, more knobs, all of that sort of stuff. Isn't that where companies are making the saving? And that's why the Kemper Player was initially priced where it was, and then to then add another 300 euros on top feels kind of arbitrary. So that was kind of the idea for me. The other question, I guess, is would we get a better experience as customers if there was this kind of paid upgrades thing? Because I think we're at the mercy more or less of what companies can afford to do, right? And I guess there is maybe an argument that if there were paid upgrades and stuff like that, maybe Line 6 might have done capture, for example. Is there any way that paying for these upgrades could actually increase the speed of their development? Maybe, I don't know. Or would it just mean that more companies would launch a device which wasn't really ready? And that's another thing that people have kind of brought up about, you know, essentially the first user being used as a bit of a beta tester, and then sort of 4 or 5 years down the line is when the device is actually pretty much ready. Is that what we're seeing companies do more of? The main point I wanted to make, I guess, is that free updates are not really free. They are costing the company to do them, but I think that's kind of the business model right now. And it's really, really good PR for people like Line 6. You know, every time there's a firmware update, there's people out there that are praising Line 6 for bringing new life to the hardware, bringing new models. You know, people make videos on it. That's one thing that Boss have really lacked, and one thing that I think is why that they've just changed that. I think it's a great PR move for a company to update free firmware, upgrade their stuff, like Fractal as well. It's not so great to charge for that, and PR wise looks like a really not a great move. Let me know your thoughts on that in comments. Are you open to this idea of upgrades not being free in the future? Has this put you off Kemper for life? Let me know your thoughts. I'll see you in another video.